YouTube Vertical and on X. So thank you for tuning in. If you're new on YouTube, hit the like, please hit subscribe. I'm testing out the new vertical streaming that's competing with TikTok, where you can now provide gifts in the form of jewels and diamonds. On TikTok, they're known as roses or hearts. So go ahead and check it out. It's only a penny, so if you want to test that feature out, I'd really appreciate it. But we also got X Spaces going on, so we have the audio version on X, and we have the live video version here on Vertical YouTube. So I will just be going over part 2 of yesterday's Money News episode, where we talked about CPI. So CPI, Consumer Price Index, is different from the PPI. So just think about CPI, what the consumer pays. PPI is what the retailers pay, so wholesale, right? So CPI will be what we pay the grocery store. PPI will be what the grocery store pays the vendors, the merchants, however you want to label it. So let's go ahead and take a look here. But yeah, a key price gauge Wednesday showed inflation continued to edge higher in November. So we're just summarizing the CPI here from yesterday. So the consumer price index rose an annual 2.7% from 2.6% in October. Let's see here. There you go. That's probably the best one here. Oh, let me see. We can retouch on. Yeah, let's just do the retouch on. Why not? Okay. Oh, and another big one that I like, or that I think is funny. Elon Musk, his net worth has now passed 400 billion. So this man is almost worth $500 billion. And SpaceX isn't even a public company. So it's very, very possible that he could be a trillionaire in his lifetime. All right, but let's take a look at the PPI. So wholesale prices rose 0.4% in November, which is more than expected. So the producer price index increased 0.4% for November, higher than the Dow Jones consensus estimate of 0.2%. So double of what they originally thought, which is not good news. So the more groceries pay for their products, the more we have to pay as a consumer. Okay, and remember, the higher the gasoline is, the higher that these products take to deliver to the store, or I'm sorry, the more they cost to get delivered to the store, which in return is reflected on the grocery prices. Okay, so if you follow me on X, you can see the data about food prices and how they correlate with gas prices. So the lower the gas prices, the lower that PPI. So that means grocery stores are paying less for the groceries to be delivered. So first-time claims for unemployment insurance totaled a seasonally adjusted 242,000 for the week ending December 7th versus 220,000 forecast and up 17,000 from the prior period. So this is huge news because when the Fed looks to cut rates next week on Wednesday, which will also have, so then there'll be Money News episode number 10. Like and subscribe to have that information, or stay up to date so you can make informed decisions with your money based on true and accurate financial and economic data. All right. So being that unemployment is up, being that, well, the Fed is very, very motivated to cut interest rates, especially with Trump coming into office shortly after. And a big factor in that decision will be the increase in unemployment. Okay, so first-time claims for unemployment insurance totaled a seasonally adjusted 242,000 for the week ending December 7th versus the 220,000 forecast. So higher than expected. That's not looking good. All right, so let me go on and continue reading here the information. If you just tuned in, please hit the like or consider providing a gift so I know that you're there, or leave a comment and feel free to ask any money questions that you can think of. All right, we're also live on X. Follow me on X, the same @ to be more up to date with financial news. So the producer price index, or PPI, which measures what producers get for their products at the final demand stage, increased 0.4% for the month, higher than the National Consensus estimate of 0.2. On an annual basis, PPI rose 3%. This is the biggest advance since February 2023. So actually, I think that's very tweet worthy. Let me go ahead and post that previously on X, and then we'll post it up on the X Spaces. That way people that join the X Spaces can go ahead and like and repost and engage. Okay, share the space and share to space. Again, if you're on YouTube, please hit the like, please comment, ask your questions here while we keep going over the information on PPI. However, excluding food and energy, remember, there's a correlation between food and energy. Core PPI increased 0.2%, meeting the forecast. But what do we care about? Obviously, the food and energy. Hey, what's up, Trey? Thank you for the goat. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Obviously, we care about the food and energy, right? That's what we use and spend money on the daily. So when people include this, or the higher ups remove this from reports, it's kind of like, well, it doesn't mean much to me because we're using food and energy every single day. All right, also, subtracting trade services left the PPI increase at just 0.1%. Okay, so they're trying to make it sound good by saying if you remove this, if you remove that, it's not that bad. But again, food and energy is like the biggest thing we consume, so of course it's a big deal. So in other economic news, the Labor Department reported that the first-time claims for unemployment insurance totaled a seasonally adjusted 242,000 for the week ending December 7th. That's higher than the estimate of 220,000. Okay, so final demand goods price lead 0.7% on the month. The biggest move since February of this year. Some 80% of the move came from a 3.1% surge in food prices, according to BLS. So if you tuned into Money News yesterday, you would realize, or you would know, that we talked about Chipotle increasing their prices. And the CEO mentioned because they now have to pay more for protein, so now us, the consumer, has to pay more for their ingredients as well. So within the food category, chicken eggs soared 54.6%, joining an across-the-board acceleration in items such as dry vegetables, fresh fruits, and poultry. Egg prices at the retail level soared 8.2% on the month and were up 37.5% from a year ago. Wow. That is wild. That is wild. You hear these reports. Oh, inflation is 3%. Well, I'm not paying 30 cents more on the dollar for my eggs. I'm paying $3 more on the dollar. Oh my God. Egg prices at the retail level sold 8.2% in November. Oh my God. That is crazy. Let me go ahead and tweet that. That is crazy. What do you guys think? How's inflation treating you out there? Is it preventing you from taking vacations? Is it preventing you from moving out of your parents' home? What have you cut back? Let me know in the comments if you're on YouTube Live, or raise your hand if you're on X Spaces. What have you had to cut back and sacrifice? Personally, for me, I got cheaper cologne. That's one of the things that I'm not embarrassed to mention. I got cheaper cologne, and luckily I still get compliments on it. But yeah, I had to get cheaper cologne than my usual, based on all the inflation that's been going on. Service costs rose 0.2%, which pushed higher by 0.8% increase in trade. So the PPI release comes on the day after the BLS reported that the Consumer Price Index, more widely cited inflation gauge, also nudged higher in November to 2.7 on a 12-month basis and 0.3% month over month. That is crazy. All right, let's see what the Atlanta Fed Tracker says. And again, if you're on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe, and consider providing the jewel or a gift. I just activated that feature. Let's try to compete with TikTok. So I just want to see how it works. It's only 1 cent, so if you be so kind of do me that favor. So an Atlanta Fed tracker is putting November PCE. All right, so PCE is personal consumption expenditures. Okay, and it's a great inflation forecasting tool. So it's putting the November PCE at 2.6%, which is up 0.3 percentage points from October, and core PCE at 3%, which is up 0.2 percentage points. All right, so do you think inflation is actually getting worse? Or do you think we're actually getting accurate reporting now that we have the Biden-Harris administration on the way out and the Trump administration on the way in? We know the media hasn't been friendly to one side the way it's to the other. So what do you think? Are rates, or is inflation actually getting bad, or are we finally getting accurate reporting? All right, so stock market futures were slightly in negative territory following the economic news. Treasury yields were mixed, while the odds of the rate cut next week were still around 98%. This is according to the CME Group. So we're expecting a 98%, or there's a 98% chance of a rate cut next week. How much is it going to be? Personally, probably a quarter of a point. That's personally what I think where we're going to be at. Let's see. One reason markets expect the Fed to cut, even amidst of inflation, is that Fed officials are growing more concerned about the labor market. So again, what I mentioned in the beginning of this space, if you're on X, or the beginning of this YouTube live stream, is the jobs report. All right, and it actually could be worse, you know. But a lot of companies hire temporary seasonal workers, so that definitely helps the report. But it's not trending in the right direction. And again, that's one of the key indicators when it comes to cutting rates. Okay, so job claims posted their highest level since early October. Okay, so that's what I mean, right? It's like everything up until before the election was heading in the right direction. All of a sudden, the election's over, and now we're heading in the wrong direction. So, do you think we're heading in the wrong direction? Let me know in the comments. Or is it that we're now finally getting accurate and true reporting? So, if you haven't caught up with the CPI news, that's Money News episode number 8, available both on X and on YouTube vertical live stream. And this is Money News episode number 9, where we discuss the PPI and we discuss how Elon is now close to $500 billion net worth. So, next Money News would be Money News number 10 or 11, if there's not one before that, to go over the rate cuts in or on Wednesday. So again, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe if you're new here. Consider tipping if you found this information useful. I want you to have true and accurate financial information so you can make the best and most informed decisions for your personal finances. So hit the like, or feel free to drop a jewel gift, whatever they're called now, that I recently activated. But thank you for tuning in both on YouTube Live, and thank you for those that have tuned in on X. Stay winning.